What's up, everybody? My name is Jake Isom, and I'm going to be starting a new YouTube channel. It's called Rated and Plated, and I'm pretty excited about it. This is my first foray into this kind of thing, but I've been interested in it for a while, so I wanted to try it out. So what I'm going to do today, I'm not going to plate anything today. I'm just going to be doing some ratings. So what I'm going to do is, I love movies, so I wanted to start out by ranking my favorite top 10 movies of all time. Now, there's a difference between the best movies of all time and my favorite movies, okay? So this is not a list of the greatest movies of all time. So like, I don't want to see any comments about like, where's Casablanca or, where's, The Searchers. Those are great movies. They're not on my list because they're not my favorite movies. Now, someday I'd like to do a list of the top 10 greatest movies of all time. These are just my favorite movies. Okay, so, and I'd like for you to comment too if you have favorite movies you want to comment about. Tell me your top 10 list or whatever. These are just mine. Now, what I've also done that I thought was something I wanted other people to do too was it's hard to come up with 10. So I have 5 extra. So technically, I guess it's my top 15. But these are what I like to call honorable mention movies. These are not necessarily my favorite films, but these are some that I think are really, really good because of what they contributed to the history of cinema. So I wanted to talk about those too. So I'm going to start right there with those. The first one on this list is from 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Why put that on here? Because that was the very first full-length animated movie. And so that changed filmmaking from that time forward. Because up until that point, all you had was short animated films. You didn't have full-length animated films. So that was a big deal. And so I put Snow White on that honorable mention list. The next one is from 1939, Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz wasn't a big, huge hit when it came out. It really found legs when it started showing on television yearly in the 50s and then from years and years afterwards. But this was a big deal because of the use of special effects. I think they might have used, they used some miniatures and some things like that. And to me, the tornado scene still looks really, really good. And so for a movie that was made in the 30s, parts of it still hold up pretty well. But just fantasy movies in general were not very popular when that came out. And so that's, led to that genre being used much later on. So I got 2 right there from the 30s. I'm going to jump time a little bit. My third on the honorable mention list would be from 1988, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was groundbreaking in its use of live action and animation combined together. Now, I know there had been films before. There was the short Tom and Jerry film, I think, with Jerry Mouse. Live action, I think it was with Gene Kelly. That one was really impressive. Also, Mary Poppins obviously was very good. But Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you feel like those characters are actually in the movie with the live action actors and the way they use puppeteering. And this is pre-digital age, so this is before they really had a lot of computer animation at this point. And so what they did was really, really well. And I just watched this the other day. It still holds up to me. I think it is still really, really well done. So I would put that as part of my 5 honorable mention. Number 4 on my honorable mention list is from 1993, Jurassic Park. Now, this one's a big deal because obviously CGI characters were not around before this, used in this specific way. I mean, if you ever have watched the behind the scenes of that, it's really, really neat to see how far they came because what they were going to use was the stop motion dinosaurs, and there's just no comparison. When you look at the 2 of those movies together, it would have been a completely different movie, and I don't think as well received, but because of how good the CGI looks, and to me still holds up too. It's another one that's really, really well done. So I would put Jurassic Park in that 5 honorable mention list. 5th honorable mention is from 1995, Toy Story. And obviously it's the first full-length computer animated motion picture. And we kind of take for granted what these movies brought to the table. Because right now you see all of these things. We always see full-length animated films, not to mention most of them now are CGI films, or computer animated films. And so we just come a long way. And so I think those 5 films really led to, a change in the way we view cinema and how we watch movies and stuff. And so I really like movies. So that's why I wanted to just mention those 5. Now, here are my top 10 favorite movies of all time. And again, these are not the greatest movies of all time. These are my favorite movies. So if they're on TV or if I've got them, some of them on Blu-ray. I stream, obviously, a lot of these films, and these are movies that I will watch anytime. If it's, sometimes I try to watch these at least once a year. That's how much I enjoy these movies. So number 10 on my list is from 1993, Tombstone. Tombstone's a great movie, great performance from Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell. I think that it was the first Western that I watched at 12 years old, maybe 13 when I first saw it. I remember my dad rented it, and I wasn't really that excited about it because I really didn't love Westerns growing up. I have come to really enjoy them, and this was sort of a gateway to appreciating Westerns. I really didn't much care for them before this, but the way they did this movie in such a way that it just kept me captivated. I really loved what they did with it. And it feels almost like a contemporary movie, even though it's set in Old West. And obviously the story of Wyatt Earp is everybody knows that story, and they've done many shows and movies about that before. I think there was even one around the same time that came out with Kevin Costner called Wyatt Earp. Now, I appreciate that movie. It's probably, more historically accurate, but as far as entertainment value, Tombstone, my number 10. All right, number 9 is from 1998, Saving Private Ryan. Another one. I love this movie. The first 20 minutes of that movie, just phenomenal. The Normandy scene, it's gut-wrenching. It's hard to watch at times. In fact, a lot of veterans had to go get like counseling and stuff from watching that scene, because he did such a good job making that so real that a lot of them had to go get psychological help. Some of them couldn't even sit through the screening. They had to get up and go. And so it was just a wonderful thing to see him honor veterans in that movie, because it really is it's a love letter to those World War II generation veterans that not only fought in that battle, but all throughout World War II. So Saving Private Ryan is my number 9. Okay, number 8 is from 1994, The Shawshank Redemption. Another one that is just a great movie. I forgot to mention Saving Private Ryan. I did see that in the theater. I saw Tombstone on video. We went and rented that, so I'm showing my age a little bit. Then Shawshank Redemption in 1994. Obviously, was too young to go see this movie. It was rated R. So I remember first seeing this movie on television. There were, if you had cable, you had TNT, TBS, USA. Those networks showed this movie constantly. I mean, if it was a weekend or a Friday night, Saturday night, you could just about bet that Shawshank Redemption was going to be on. And I just remember it didn't have a lot of special effects or anything, but just the story was so well done. And I felt like I started to really appreciate the acting and things like that. I know there's been some reassessment of that movie, and some people think maybe it's overrated. I don't. I think it's great. I think it's probably Morgan Freeman's best movie. And I just, a lot of people, not just me, but a lot of people, really started really liking Morgan Freeman after this movie, and his career just catapulted, but just a really good movie. And plus the fact that it's a Stephen King novella that it's based on, because as a kid you hear Stephen King and I always thought horror was the only genre that he was really into, but he made this and it was super good. So Shawshank Redemption would be my number 8. Number 7 on my list is, and I'm going to sound like somebody that just, you're just putting this in here, but I really do love it. It's The Godfather. It's from 1972. Francis Ford Coppola. I think it's a great movie. I know that's probably breaking the rules, but I would probably put Godfather and Godfather 2 together as one movie. I think they work really well watching them together, because you watch the first one and you see Don Corleone's life as an older man or whatever. But then the second movie, you kind of see the background of where he comes from, while at the same time, you see Michael Corleone kind of come into his own and really become the character that he is. Spoiler alert, I guess, but the death of Fredo and all that, everything's just really good. But if I have to pick one, I'll still put, the original Godfather. Just a really good movie. And I think, in some ways really changed the genre of gangster movies or mobster movies. They'd had those before, but I think this really has that 70s movie aesthetics, feel to it. And it's just really good. So love The Godfather. All right, so number 6, and I mentioned Jurassic Park earlier. I almost put Jurassic Park in this spot, but when I was thinking about it, I couldn't do it. because I had to lift this one out and I can't. Jaws. Jaws is one of, I remember being a little kid being so scared to watch Jaws. But then when I finally watched it, I think it was about 18 or 19 years old before I was able to watch that movie, because my parents were very protective, and obviously they didn't want me to see things that were going to give me nightmares or traumatize me. But when I finally did watch Jaws, it was I remember that feeling that it gave me, because it was such a good movie. And that's something that movies, I think can do for all of us, is it just gives you a good feeling when you watch it. And I think, sometimes movies get put in a box like, oh, that's a scary movie. But it's really, to me, more of an adventure movie. It's almost a pirate movie. If you listen to the music in it, and I watched a lot of making of documentaries, and they say the same thing. It's really more about the journey that the men are taking when they're trying to get the shark. And I know the shark didn't work very well. So, and I know there's a lot of Hitchcock movies that this movie takes, some ideas from, because you don't really see the shark because he didn't work right. So the whole story is cool, because he had to make this movie with almost everything going wrong. And then finally, he gets it made, and it's just this really big hit because of the tricks he had to use, because the shark didn't work good. So, and really, if you watch it, I understand there's things in here that don't hold up. The Bruce the Shark, he still doesn't look completely right, but still a great movie. So that's my number 6. Number 5 is my number 5 movie is Back to the Future. Love Back to the Future. I remember being 10, 11, 12, same thing with Shawshank. If it was a weekend night, or if it were a Labor Day or Christmas holiday, any kind of time we were off of school, it seemed like you could see Back to the Future on cable somewhere. And so that was really my introduction to it. I loved all 3 of the movies. I don't hold the 2 and 3 to the same esteem as I hold like Godfather 2, but still think they work great together. And I appreciate the fact that these will never be remade. There's not going to be a sequel. As long as Robert Zemeckis is alive, there's not going to be a sequel to Back to the Future. And I think that's a good thing. I don't think that they need to mess with this. I think it belongs in the 80s and early 90s. It's a great time capsule of what the times were like then. But Back to the Future is obviously the best of those 3 movies, and I really enjoy it. I like the music, I like the action, I like that it is a nostalgia movie a little bit. He gets his parents together, and there's some weirdness when you start talking about the science of it and everything. I understand, some of that doesn't work, but I think it's really, really good. I really enjoy that movie, and the soundtrack is just. That's another thing that these movies do. As a kid, I would never say I like classical music, but because of these movies, I like classical music, and Back to the Future is one of those soundtracks. It's just like, it sticks with you, and so I like Alan Silvestri's music, all of his music, but I really like Back to the Future. My number 4 movie is Ghostbusters. Love Ghostbusters from 1984. And a lot of these you're going to notice this is a nostalgia trip a little bit, but that's kind of what movies do for us. They take us back to our childhood or teenage years, whatever. But I loved Ghostbusters. Was really too young to watch it. I used to watch it at my friend's house. He had a VCR, and his dad was a little more permissive than my parents, so I got to watch it. And some of the jokes that are in there, I understand why maybe my parents didn't let me watch it, but it's just one long joke. It's amazing to me what they did with a story that really could just be really flat and not that interesting. But knowing that they're tongue-in-cheek and the whole thing is sort of a joke, when in the movie they have some, especially as a 5-6-year-old kid, some really scary moments in that. Now, some of the effects probably don't hold up as well today, but I do think that the movie's still really good. So Ghostbusters would be my number 4. All right, into my top 3. Okay, number 3. And again, this is where I'm going to get some feedback, I know, but my number 3 is Star Wars, A New Hope from 1977. And again, this is where it's really important to remember, this is not greatest movies of all time. These are my favorite movies, okay? I will acknowledge Empire Strikes Back is the better film, okay? Understand that. But if you're asking me what I would rather watch, I prefer Star Wars to Empire Strikes Back. Again, I understand. And if we're making a list of greatest movies of all time, Empire would definitely be above Star Wars. But for me, on a Sunday afternoon, what I want to watch, I'm gonna pick Star Wars. I like a happy ending. I like, you know, all the battle sequences at the end. You know, the Death Star blows up. All that's great. And just knowing that at the time period, again, this is before the digital age, and I know that George Lucas came back and remade some things, and he added some digital things to it to make it look better or whatever. But that's my number 3. Number 2 from 1982 is E.T. Now, E.T., I was older when I finally watched this movie. And I was about 20 or 21, I think, when I finally got to watch it. I bought it on a DVD. It was like a 20th anniversary edition. So I just missed it, you know, growing up. My parents weren't into sci-fi. They really weren't into that many movies. And so it just, even that old at the time, I still understood that this was a really, really good movie. It was really well made. And the way it respects kids, where it doesn't talk down to them, and it kind of, they feel like kids talking. They don't really feel like grown-ups. And I think that, you know, it's hard to write for kids. Sometimes you write for kids and they sound goofy or whatever, but I thought it was really good. All the actors did well. Of course, Drew Barrymore goes on to be massive and everything. So and that leads me to my number 1 favorite movie, which is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders is my number 1 favorite movie. I could watch Raiders. I don't know about every day. I know anything you get tired of it, but Raiders is such a good movie. It's so tight, and it's one of those that you can watch anytime and pick up anywhere in the movie, and there's something going on. It doesn't really slow down that much, but when it does slow down, it's explaining things that you need to know, whether it's about the Ark or what are we doing with Marion. And it's a throwback to those 30 serials, so it's really quick moving. It moves really, really fast. The effects are great. The stunts are good. The Indiana Jones show at Disney World is still running. It's been running since 1989. So, I mean, a lot of people really love this movie. But for me, it's my number 1 just because it's got everything. It's one of those movies, it's just a grab bag of all the things that I love about movies. And my love for movies really started with Raiders because I was 10 years old and my parents were at a New Year's Eve party. And the people's house we were at, they had a video collection that was pretty big, and that's where I first watched a lot of the movies that I mentioned here. But Raiders was all the Star Wars movies and all the Raiders movies. I was able to just fly through them, and I think I watched Raiders twice because I just really, really loved it. But all these movies that I've mentioned, you know, and again, it is a nostalgia thing for me, you know, and I understand that that's probably going to get brought up in the comments, and I agree. I'll own it. It's something that that, you know, you get a little touchy-feely when you talk about that because it does take you back to a time and what it made you feel like when you first watched those movies. It gives you certain feelings, and whether it's the music or the action or the special effects and things. So, but anyway, that's my top 10. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. Even if you don't like it, leave a comment. Tell me what your top 10 favorite movies are. And then if you want to add those 5 extras in there, if you want to, that would be great. Or if you just want to leave your top 10, that'd be good. But anyway, this is called Rated and Plated. Didn't play anything this time, but I'm hoping to do some more reviews later on. Not just movies, but we're looking at doing a lot of different things. So I'm excited about this. I was kind of nervous because it's my first time filming a video. So anyway, glad you took, 18 or so minutes to watch this if you did. But again, like and subscribe. Have a good day.